Hey everybody, how's it going? Here with another knife review. Sorry the lighting still sucks. I'll figure something out one of these days. It may not look terrible to you, but there's just so much glare and it just doesn't do justice to the detail and the color on some of these knives. Anyway, today we have the Samier knives. It's basically a Chinese knockoff knife, if you will. It's a copy, a clone, whatever you want to call it. But it's a clone of the Monroe collaboration, Sigil. And I never even heard of Samier knives until I saw a video like this, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? What's going on? And they're reviewing it, and they're showing what great fit and finish and what a great knife it was for the price and how close it was to the original. And I was like, well, I got to see that for myself, because the original was a huge disappointment for me. So I was thinking, man, for $130, if I could get a knife from Hong Kong shipped, well, actually 150 with the actual tool to disassemble it, then that would be amazing. You know, the original Sigil was like, the one I reviewed anyway was about $1,900. So at less than 10%, if it's even remotely decent, it might be worth my efforts or my time. So that's what you're looking at here. This is just a clone, and it didn't come with this funky worn green color that you see here. I anodized that myself, and I'm thinking about changing the color. I don't mind the way it looks. I think it looks kind of cool. Let me know what your thoughts are, if I should keep this green on there. Again, I do like it, but and it's kind of like that worn, I don't know, the way I envision like the Statue of Liberty would look up close. It's got that worn kind of dingy look on the green, which kind of looks cool. Looks weathered or aged. So I like that a lot. But I was thinking maybe do some sort of like purple, indigo, violet sort of color on here. I thought that might look good. Anyway, so yeah, it came with the Bead Blast silver matte finish, and I anodized it green. So about the knife, it's pretty much all the same dimensions as the original. I think you have a 3.5-inch blade. Let me double check. Yeah, 3.5-inch blade, 8-inch overall length. You have a 4.5-inch handle right here when it's closed, and then you have a handle thickness of 0.52, just like the original. And you have a blade thickness of 0.16. And the weight on the original, all titanium version anyway, was 3.7 ounces or something like that. This one, let me back this up so you can see. This one is heavier because they don't mill out the inside of the handle to save some weight. So this one's a little bit heavier. 4.4, right? So not quite an ounce heavier, but it is a little bit heavier. I really don't care. With a EDC knife like this, it doesn't really matter to me. It's not past a weight that I find to be clunky or cumbersome or anything like that. So, but yeah, here it is. I think it's absolutely exceptionally done. I think it is such a spot-on a clone, that it scares me. I cannot believe what a great job they did on this. The dimensions are almost identical. There's only minor variances, and I will point them out. I mentioned in the Sigil video that I was totally enamored with the beauty and the design of the actual Sigil, but that it fell way short as an actual knife, and it was because of that a major disappointment. And to me, it sucks, because to me, I can't just own a knife for art alone. Okay, there's very rarely an exception to that. Even the knives that I own that are works of art, like a Wilmoon Mark VI, for example, Elite series, that's a work of art, and I'm not going to use it as a knife. But the reason why I respect it and love it so much is because it would function as a knife very well. The design and the execution of its beauty are aligned. Whereas the Sigil, it was all the eggs were in one basket, and that was for looks. But as a knife, it sucked big donkey balls. At least the version that I did, or the version that I got. And I've seen some other people that had some similar problems. And I know that the newer versions of the Sigil collaborations, I think they don't have the subframe lock anymore. They just did a frame lock. And then they put on a standard non-spring pocket clip. And I think they've worked out a lot of the kinks. They got them sharp and they got the blade centered and their locks hopefully stopped failing. Intermission, I gotta crack open a beer. One of my favorite beers in the world, Greenport Harbor Brewery. Check it out, Leaf Pile. It's awesome. Out of Greenport, Long Island, New York. It's where my wife and I got married. Oh, that's good stuff. Okay, so this knife, like I said, less than 1/10 of the cost and 10 times the knife that the original Sigil that I got ever was or ever could be. It has all of the same design traits, almost verbatim, almost the same. There are minor differences, things like, well, the pocket clip is exactly the same. Actually, I get a little bit more leverage or room to get my pocket in there than the original. But there's a difference here, I think. I don't have the original, I got rid of it. So I can't really tell you if that spring was exposed on the original. I don't think it was. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know. I don't think it was exposed. I don't care, it doesn't change anything. Maybe it's just like a minor detail that's nicer because you didn't see it on the original maybe. I don't care at all. But that's one difference I think there is. The hardware is pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. On the pivot, it's definitely the same. It's very, very well done. They have the over travel stop here with the Damascus, or at least something that looks like Damascus. It looks really nice. Same thing, held in with one screw. You have the steel lock bar insert on the titanium lock bar here with 2 screws to hold it in, again like the original. 2 screws holding in the subframe lock bar, just like the original. 3 screws holding in the floating back spacer, just like the original. Damn, come on, focus. Lighting's not helping. 3 jimping spots on the back, just like the original. 3 jimping spots, I guess you could say. Notches on the spine of the blade, just like the original. You have this high center point with the machine work on the sides, and then these notches here, which are mimicked on the pocket clip, and the same thing on this side, just like the original. You have the chamfers here, where the flipper goes to make it more comfortable for when you flip it on your finger, just like the original. You have chamfers on the inside here, which make it easier to disengage the lock bar, just like the original. You have skeletonized or recessed points here by the flipper, as well as the rear, just like the original. You have a Warncliffe type blade, just like the original. And I've seen these blades vary a little bit, even on the original Sigil. The one I had, this line here went straight out and was not interrupted by the swedge on the back. And it is interrupted here. And I've seen a lot of the original Sigils have the same blade as this. So I think they are custom knives the originals are, and I think there's just going to be a variance every once in a while on a custom knife because they're hand grinding the blades. But this is a flat grind. There's a difference as opposed to the original having a hollow grind. I prefer flat, so that's awesome. You have a slightly different cutout here, and it's hard to really describe unless I have one side by side for comparison. But I don't recall the rear of this cutout being parallel or flush with the frontmost portion of this bolster right here. I like the way it looks, it's fine. I feel like this is shifted just a little bit forward on the original. Also, I feel like the actual angles and shape is just slightly different on the original. I feel like this, not this line, but I feel like this last angle right here, I feel like it was maybe a little bit shorter, smaller, slightly different angle there. Not exactly sure, but I remember looking at pictures again after I got this, and it does look a little bit different. Neither a disadvantage or advantage, a pro or a con, it's just an observation. But on the swedge you have stonewash, on the grind you have stonewash, and on the flats you have an inconsistent satin rub sort of look. And no, that's not just the lighting, that's the inconsistency I was looking for. You have really aggressive rubbing like you would see on a hand satin rub, and then it's just kind of less aggressive in this area here. So it's just, you know, the details, the fit and finish you're going to get on a knife at this price point are not going to be quite as perfect as something you'd see at the $1,900 price point, or $1,500, $1,600, you know, even $1,100. I've seen some of the more basic models at that price point, and their finish is just better. It's that simple, and that's what I said the strong points were. Sorry when I move the blade out of the screen, I'm just trying to wipe it, smudges off the blade. That's what you're going to get. That was what the strong point was with the original, is that the finish on it was gorgeous, but the fitment sucked. And fitment, like the lock, you know, probably the most important part of a folding knife, the lock. Imagine that. These guys freaking nailed it. It's at about, I don't know, 40% lockup right now. If I push really hard, I can get it to move to about 50%. If I squeeze really freaking hard, about 50%, as you can see here once again. That's the true lockup, 45, 50%. And after I torqued on it like I just did, no problem disengaging it. It's not sticking, there's no lock rock. The problem I had with the original is the lock would just slide all the way over and fail on me. So this locks up great. It comes sharp. Imagine that. This comes very sharp with a very nice edge on it. So look at that. It's a knife. It's a freaking knife. And I love the way it looks. It's almost identical to the original. And I'm just thrilled that I got it for the price I got it. I can't believe it. It's the sigil that I wanted that I couldn't even get from the original. I got from a Chinese clone. Imagine that. It's just crazy. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this knife. I think that if you wanted to track down one of these Samier knives, I think they spell it S-A-M-I-E-R knives, and he makes a lot of different clones of a lot of different really expensive knives, high-end, custom, mid-tech, all that stuff. And I wish I could speak to the rest of them, because I haven't handled any of the other ones. This is the only one I've held. But what I can tell you is that if they're anywhere near as well done as this one is, and I would be pretty confident that they are, then I would say jump on them, because this thing is freaking awesome. They did such a good job. Ball bearing pivot system, super buttery smooth. This is after taking it apart. I didn't even lube it yet now that I think about it. After I took it apart, cleaned it all off, so there's no lube in here right now at all. And still very smooth. But I took it apart, anodized it, and threw it back together, and then made this video. So I'm trying to think if there's any other pros or cons. I mean, basically anything that I mentioned that was a negative in the original video, this is totally better. And it's almost just as good looking. Same design. They really nailed it. It's very accurate. Centering on the blade, I don't know if I touched on that. That's perfect or pretty close to it. Really awesome as well. They just did everything they need to do to make this a really good knife and a really cool knife. The only other thing I noticed is that, again, very minor detail, the consistency of the cut is, it's parallel here between the lock bar and the rest of the handle frame. It's consistent all the way down, and then you get to this angle here, and it's just slightly off. It's a little tighter or more narrow or closer here, and it broadens very, very subtly as you get to this end. And it does the same on this right here. It's a little closer, and then it broadens a little bit more as you get out here. So it's not a perfect fit or match. I don't even know if the original had that down perfect, but it's so subtle I don't think you would have even noticed that if I didn't point it out. And it doesn't like break up the curvature or the lines meeting up at all. It's just something I just noticed, that's all. No big deal. A little bit of jimping on the flipper. The detent on it is perfect. It's, I'd say, medium to strong. So that way it's really fast deploying. Really, really easy and comfortable and fun to manipulate this, to open and close it. It's a great EDC knife. It's something that I really want to carry. And at 150 bucks, I can't believe I get something that looks and functions the way this does. Truly exceptional. So I'm really, really happy with it. I hope that you're as impressed with it as I am. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about this. I may have left something out, but I 100% love this, and I would take this any day over the original, at least the version that I got. So thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks again. Take care.